have noticed the kids over there. We've got a group of kids, and Manuel's Manuel here. Yeah. There's Manny. Manuel's here, and Teal. They're giving lessons to the kids, and what a great opportunity for some of the kids of the immigrants and refugees. They have a lot of kids, and they're excellent players, and we really are trying to get more of them here because a lot of them can't afford to be on travel teams and such. It is very expensive in Williamson County area to for kids to play soccer. You might not know that, but so what an opportunity, and what great, gracious men we have here that are giving their time so freely. We're grateful to you, Teal and Emmanuel, for doing that. But today, so we're doing a series. So think about the person in your life who's had the greatest impact. You know, all of us have gotten to where we're at because of great men and great women that have been with us, whose shoulders we stand on and have helped us accomplish what we've accomplished. It would be arrogant and it would be prideful to think we've gotten to where we've gotten to on our own. We were created from the dust by God. We'll go back to the dust. And all these individuals that God puts in our lives are gifts. They're precious gifts. They're the gifts that really make life great. And so I've been talking about some of the mentors in my life, and today Teal is going to share about one of the mentors in his life. But as he's sharing, think of that one person or those two people that have had an impact on you. And prayerfully, you'll have the courage to come up here and share about that because it really helps. And what we do is we have someone video it. And so that's why Wycliffe's on my phone. And I'm going to put that up on YouTube. And it's so that the person that we share about who mentored us, we can give that back to them as a gift. Because a lot of times mentors just feel like they feel unappreciated. You know, they give their lives away, and a lot of times people don't want to receive the instruction, or they get a lot of criticism. And so it's great just to encourage those people. So that's what the video is for. So today, Teal Bunbury's here, and he's going to share about one of the mentors in his life. And Teal, the mentor you have picked out today, why is he significant to you?
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and thank you guys always for coming out here and sticking around and to listen to a little bit of my story. I love what Paul and Chris have done here. I think this beautiful game brings everybody together, all walks of life. Regarding mentors, I think we all, like Paul said, can think of a mentor in our life. A lot of times we might think it's someone who's like older, a teacher, a father, a parent, someone you kind of almost look up to. Usually that's someone maybe a little bit older, but my mentor today that I'm going to talk about is someone who actually brought me to Christ and introduced me to Jesus Christ. And he was a college teammate of mine, actually. So a mentor who was maybe a year or two older than me, but still had wisdom beyond anything I could ever imagine. And I came to Christ back in my freshman year in college, and that was back in 2008 going into 2009 technically. It wasn't a crazy story. I've heard a lot of crazy stories, but it was a personal story where, I got into college and soccer was everything. I had played it my entire life, and I thought, okay, I'm going to become a professional. My dad played soccer, and that was my mindset. I get to college, and things are seeming like they're coming easy, but I'm like, there's got to be more to life than just kicking the ball around, And I went to school at University of Akron in Ohio. Not much going on in Akron. I don't know if many of you know, in Ohio, there's not too much going on in this small city besides LeBron James being from Akron. It gets freezing cold there. Soccer was a bigger deal, but still not looked at like, maybe Ohio State, which is close by and things like that. I was just kind of meandering through college with a lot of the pressures that come with it. And a teammate of mine, Steve Zakawani, was his name. We call him Steve-O. He was someone who always was at peace. And it wasn't just a peace that like, oh, happy. It was just something that he seemed like always calm no matter what was happening to him. Training sessions were tough. We're suffering in preseason. He always seemed to be calm. We're walking from classroom to classroom, and he's always calm. And I had to ask him, I'm like, yo, what is your secret? I need this. There's something special about you, man. And he asked me if I knew who Jesus Christ was. And I said, well, yeah, I've heard of Jesus. Yeah, thanks, buddy. This is my son here, by the way. I'm like, I've heard of Jesus. He's like, it's not about a religion, it's about a relationship. And when he used that term with me, it really resonated, the relationship part. I've had friends, and we've all had parents, and we've had people that are close to us. And I understood what a relationship was. It was spending time with that person. It was getting to know that person. It was confiding in that person. And he just told me that, you know, we've all fallen short from God's grace and His holiness, you know. But Jesus was someone, the only way that we could be reconciled with God and have that relationship was trusting in our Lord and Savior. And he started doing a Bible study, and it was something for me. I'm like, oh, you know, this is something I really want to be a part of, and I didn't know fully what I was getting myself into. Sorry. I didn't know what I was getting myself into when he started these Bible studies, but he was someone that knew what he wanted in life, and it wasn't all about soccer. And it really unlocked something in me where I thought, you know what, my identity has always been a soccer player, and maybe for you guys, whatever your work is, whatever sport you played, whatever anybody kind of puts a value on you. And Steve-O at the time opened my eyes to Jesus, who doesn't care about, you know, the sport you play. He doesn't care about, you know, how much money you make. He cares about you and your heart. And that's what I learned. And Steve-O, being a mentor, was somebody who just put his arm around me. He could see maybe when I was bummed out, and he'd be able to uplift me. I think mentors are people who can uplift you when you're feeling down, pump you up always have your back. And there's never any jealousy or envy. It was pure from Steve-O. And that's someone who he would, even when I left college, he was still reaching out to me to check up on me, see how I was doing. I had a crazy knee injury that happened to me a few years after I left college. He was one of the first people to reach out to me and see how I was doing. I got married, had kids. He was someone who was always checking up and being there for me. So I think a mentor is someone who's always there for you, has your back, has your best interest, but doesn't do it for anything outside of they love and care about you. So I think as a mentor, I try to be a mentor to others without trying to get anything in return. And ultimately, I'm trying to share God's love with people. I want to share the good news of Jesus. And Steve-O was someone who lit that fire in me. And then it was about my journey of finding other mentors in my life that could really push me. And there's several that I could talk about, but Steve-O was someone who was very important in my life, and someone who I still talk to this day. And a lot of times mentors might seem that they have all the answers or that they're perfect, but there's times where I'm reaching out to him to check up on him too. So I'd encourage you guys, whoever might be your mentor, to also check up on them and see how they're doing, because they've helped you so much in your life. Maybe it's something that you can reciprocate with them. Yeah.
And so, Teal, what would you have projected your life would have been like had you not met Jesus? What trajectory was it taking? Where do you think you'd be now? And then if you could contrast to where you are now and what's important, your values and so forth, I think that would really shed more light on this, please.
Yeah, I think one of the easy things I could say is that soccer would have been my full focus, and I would have been so caught up in what my coaches thought of me, what my teammates thought of me, what fans thought of me, if I had a good game by scoring goals, if I didn't. So my value would be totally circumstantial. No matter what, you know, was going on, if I was having a good day, it was because maybe I had a good training session. And if I had a bad day, I didn't play well. And so I would be on this roller coaster ride if I didn't have Jesus as sitting on the throne of my life, dictating and saying, hey, I want you, I want your heart. So it's not about what I could do for Jesus, it's what he's done for me in my life. And where I am now, you know, the head of my household, I'm trying to make sure my wife and my 3 beautiful kids, this is my son here, Shai, he's a little baller, he loves playing soccer, and I hope he looks up to me. And the one thing I want to leave him with is just my legacy is, does he know who Jesus Christ is? At the end of the day, to me, that's all that matters, is does he know by how I'm carrying myself around the house, wherever we're going, that he realizes, you know, Jesus is number one in my life. So if I feel like now being at the place in my career where I just finished playing about 4 or 5 months ago, my identity being in Jesus has really helped me transition. A lot of players that I've seen and been teammates with, their whole identity and their purpose in life is being a soccer player. And I used to relate to that. And I think a lot of us can relate to our job and our work being our just everything we put our life into. But what happens when that's taken away from you? And, you know, me retiring, it wasn't taken away, but I felt maybe I could have played another year, but that wasn't in the cards for me. And the peace I have and the understanding that I have that, hey, I gave gave it all I had when I played, and now in this next chapter of my life is how can I give back? How can I share the good news with everybody? How can I raise my family up? And how can I grow as an individual outside of the game? Because it brought me so much love.
Chris, do you have any questions? I'll open it up here. If anyone has any questions for Teal, just raise your hand. We'll call on you. I think what I heard you say is that soccer. Oh, go ahead. Tell me your name.
Jonah.
Jonah, yeah. Your question, Jonah,
Yes,
please.
sir. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I'll repeat the question after you. So.
Sure. I was wondering if you have any examples of how your relationship with Jesus impacted your relationship with your teammates or even opponents on the field.
Yeah. So, how did your relationship with Jesus affect your relationship with your teammates and the other players on the field, even opponents?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Jesus affected my relationship with my teammates in particular. We would, all the teams I played on, we had Bible studies. We had a team chaplain, so we were able to have Bible studies and get together and talk about Jesus, learn more about him, learn more about, his life, his teachings, his death, and then most importantly, his resurrection. But outside of the people in the Bible study, it was also in the locker room. I feel like my life was a testimony to who Jesus is. I wanted to reflect his light on others in the locker room without being judgmental, without putting people down, without making people feel like I'm better than or anything like that. I wanted to be someone people could confide in and come to. And I felt like it made it easy for me to approach others, to open up to others and really listen to how others felt. Regarding opponents, at the end of the day, I realized kicking a ball is a game. We all love it, but I joke around and say, it doesn't matter in real life. And I mean it in a sense of, there's so many other jobs out there that are really hard jobs, that really take a lot out of you, that are purposeful jobs. Not saying playing professional soccer wasn't. It's just that you realize, you have a short amount of time to do it. It's entertainment. You're passionate about it. God has put me in a place to do it, so you want to give it your all. And when you're playing against an opponent, you're still competitive. I'm telling you right now, I'm not perfect. I'd get at guys at times, but it gave me a perspective on, okay, this is a sport, this is a game.
Excellent question, Jonah. Thank you for that question. Great answer. Any other questions?
Hey,
Shiraz?
Mr. Boombury, it's a pleasure to hear your story on your behalf, and I just wanted to ask, considering your journey from the very get-go to where you are now, what would you say is your main contrast of the biggest lesson you learned coming up, as the individual you are and the character that you've engulfed to who you are today, that a lot of us that could potentially correlate with and relate to for our love of the sport? What would you say is the main thing that you've learned coming up on your own personal journey to where you are today?
Excellent question. I'm going to repeat the question because we have a video. So, Teal, what was the greatest lesson you learned along the way?
Ooh, greatest lesson. I'm always going to come back to my faith and put my trust in Jesus, and because that's truly what has grounded me and has kept me consistent. Because a lot of times coaches at any level, they want a consistent player. So being able to be consistent was knowing that I could put my trust in Jesus, that, okay, if I have a bad game, that doesn't define me. If I have a great game, that doesn't define me. That I could work harder for him because I know who I'm playing for. But other than that as well was I enjoyed suffering, and I mean it like I enjoyed preseasons. I enjoyed hard times. Because I felt like it was helping improve something in me. So I was able to find a way through different mentors in my life, teammates. It didn't come naturally to me. It was watching people around me, other players, seeing how they'd work in the gym, seeing how, okay, they had a crazy injury, and look at how hard they're working. Oh, they're not playing as many minutes as they thought. Oh, look at how hard they're working. And I think that's just translated into my life as I was playing as well, where dealing with any adversity that kind of comes your way outside of whatever you're doing, the workplace, at home, friendships, church, wherever it is, grocery store, it kind of balances you and makes you realize, okay, there's things that are really important to weigh you down. Other things, okay, you can kind of just brush off.
Great question, Shiraz. Any other questions? Okay, so
Thanks, guys.
yeah, let's give him a hand.
Yeah.
Thank you, Teal. Thank you, Teal. And as he was speaking, I'm sure you're thinking of people that have had a great impact on you. And so this would be a great time, you know, maybe next week or one of the other times we play, to talk about that person and to honor that person with a video and just tell them how you feel. So maybe you could think about that. We all have people in our lives, and if you don't have someone that's mentoring you, I encourage you to ask God for someone for Him to put someone in your life, because He loves to do that. And you see that over and over again in the Bible. Mentors would come along and help the people with the direction that they needed to fulfill their destiny. So thank you for sharing, Teal. Thank you, Shai, for staying up late and past his bedtime. And so we can stop the video there. Thank you for videoing that.